Darwin Kastle, also involved in the creation of the game. So,
so this round we've got a player with 3 wins versus a player with 2 wins. There's actually, this is the 4th round of the tournament, and there's actually no matches where it's 3 wins versus 3 wins. So this will be a key match for determining who's going out through Swiss.
Yes, yeah.
So we're going to start watching Amanda Storm versus Nick Brosnan.
Yes, and their IGN's Nick Brosnan is FullonRage in the app, and you have Amanda Storm, bbygurl, who is a name that people have seen for quite a while now. She's a great player. So this is actually going to be a really good match, too. Nick Brosnan has actually been sending me some challenges in the app. He's been working on his game a lot, asking a lot of questions, so we're going to see what's going to happen.
Last round we got to see Amanda play multiple Imperial frigates to push her opponent off the table. Yes. So I know who you're cheering for this round.
Yes. I may or may not. Yeah, I may or may not be biased. Yeah, just because of what happened in the last round. And then some of the other matchups that are absolutely incredible, and one of the other matches that'll be going on in the same room is a Ben versus Ben, a Ben battle. That's Ben Gartner, benjotron, for those who have seen benjotron or seen his name in the game. And Ben Cosman, who is bmcfluff, both pretty good players as well.
All right, so we got Amanda and Nick on camera here.
Yeah, and this is going to be. I'm trying to see there. Looks like a vanilla. I think we're going vanilla.
Yeah, this is both the feature matches this time are vanilla.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. So yeah, Nick at 3-0, Amanda at 2-1. It's going to be a pretty intense match here, and as you were saying, there's actually, it's starting to get to the implication phase of the Swiss rounds, right? Like winning these matches is actually going to be really important towards getting that record up to the top 8.
There's only one other player who's 3-0, so it's possible that Nick could be the only 4-0 at the end of this round.
Yeah, it's true. And Nick actually just did in the last round played against Darklighter, that's Rick DeMille, and managed a victory there. So a pretty impressive 3-0. Starting out the trade pod. Trade pod here with 2.
Yeah, I think Trade Pod's an underrated card. I know a lot of people don't like that card, but boy, is it good on turn 1.
Sure.
3 trade for 2, it can get you off to a fast start.
There's only a few cards in the game that actually give more trade than their costs. And Trade Pod, it's a very, very strong card, especially also for faction abilities for like Blob Carrier, things later in the game.
Yeah, it's understandably weak in the late game, but turn 1, it's a very, very solid pick. And so she could take the Blob Destroyer and say, I don't want you to be pairing your green, and I want to go aggressive. But I think Recycling Stations, that's totally what I would have taken. But as you know, I like my bases.
Yes, of course. What's interesting is that does set up the chance for the Blob Destroyer as a direct counter to the.
But that'll be leaving a lot of yellow for her to go with her base.
Yeah, I was actually trying to not mention the 2 Imperial frigates that look so beautiful on the trade route.
One of them's gone.
But I had to. Thank you that at least we're going to see
this
one.
This is a very aggressive board. Like, I think this game could go very quickly. There's no Trade Federation, not a lot of bases.
Do you give the advantage? Do you give the advantage?
He chose the frigate over the Blob Destroyer.
That is interesting. That is actually really interesting.
I mean, he could have even taken 2 Corvettes.
Right.
Man, he must be like you with his love for
he must be.
So she's not going to give him another shot at it. She took the Destroyer, which I'm totally fine with that.
Do you give the advantage before that Imperial frigate pod? Do you give the advantage to Nick because he's the only one with trade? Like, because he has that trade pod in hand. I mean, the Recycling Station can give 1 if necessary, but he's the only one who can really have access to, say, like the missile mech or something else that might come up?
Oh, the timing is going to matter a lot here. Like, so for example, if she drops her Recycling Station at a time when he doesn't have his frigate in hand, so she gets multiple uses out of it. Like, so he's got.
Oh, he's taking both frigates.
Oh, you got to love that.
Oh, I mean, I assume you only had 3. Yeah. But hey, he took both frigates.
So now he's got a lot of gas coming up because he had a weak opening hand. And she's in the same boat, looks like, because she's got a whole bunch of starters in her hand.
Yep.
So do you go the double Corvette or do you go for another Empire base here?
I mean, I think you take the Ram is sitting there. If she has 5,
she's got 4. Right. She's got 4.
Oh, you're right. Yep, the Viper on the front.
I think you take the base because you don't have to worry about the Blob Destroyer because you've got it.
Right.
Right. And your opponent's going aggressive, so getting another outpost is good.
And there it is. Yep. It's going to soak one of the Imperial frigates' damage, and that actually gives her the chance for reach if command ship Brain World, if something pops up on the board. I think she's off to a
good start, but if he gets the trade pod and is able to get that missile mech, that could swing things a little bit.
It could. Scrapless game, by the way, as well.
Here it is. Let's see if he does. He's
got it. He's got it. Yeah, missile mech definitely going to be coming in.
That'll be bad for her 2 bases.
Trading post. So no scrap. The only draw in the game is the scrap for the Imperial frigate and the Recycling Station. So
with no scrap, Recycling Station becomes very powerful.
Very, yes.
So I guess she's trying to decide whether to. Yep, that seems like the solid play, getting rid of the Viper and the Scout.
Okay, and then with 3 ram, do you ram here?
Yeah, because or she could go for another base, but I like the ram there because she's not locked into being a defender. She's got a lot of aggressive cards to go with her recycling station.
So they're both
very aggressive.
Yeah, this is going to be a swinging battle here.
And the Hive would be good in either of their decks, I think.
Yes, at this point, yes.
Although with him having 2 frigates, those corvettes. Wow, I really don't agree with the showing.
No,
both at
play
once.
one. Yeah, just play one. Play one. Make a discard.
Because her deck's still watered down with early game cards, it probably won't be a big deal.
Right.
But why give her that information?
Correct. It's just that little edge, right?
Maybe just trying to get in her head to be like, look, I've got both.
He did put them down very quickly. He was like, "Is your turn done here?" 2 Imperial.
At least he's waiting for her to discard before he shows her the rest of his hand.
Yes, because some people actually don't do that even. They just keep playing their turn
while waiting.
But the way the rules stipulate, for those who don't know, if your opponent needs to discard a card on the table, you can play it and you wait until they discard a card, and then you can continue your turn. So they do have to discard. Oh,
wait, so she hasn't discarded the 2 cards?
So she hasn't discarded. But he did. Yeah, interesting.
Oh, she must be so used to the app that she's waiting for the beginning of her turn to discard them?
I'm sure that Nick will mention it. I would think. So 12 damage, 4 goes here, 8's going to go through. She still hasn't discarded cards.
Okay, so she's treating it like the app where you discard at the beginning of your turn.
And I'm sure Nick, not wanting to come across in a certain way, is not being like, you need to discard those right now.
Yeah, I might have come across in that way.
I understand.
I just wouldn't have played another card before she discarded.
Sure, right. Yep. And just wait.
That's not being a jerk. That's just playing by the rules.
Just hanging out. So Blob Destroyer, she scrapped out the Stealth Needle. Scrapped out the Stealth Needle from the row.
Yeah, well, she can't afford it without scrapping her base, and she doesn't want him to be like, copying one of those frigates.
3 Imperial frigates.
So
or the missile mech, right? Which he does get with the
There's
space station
a beautiful row for him. Like, she wasn't able to buy anything. I mean, obviously, she hit him hard. Oh, and he's getting rid of the base for free. So this is could be a very good turn for him.
26 to
he's got a lot of trade in his hand, too. So he's going to buy a lot of quality cards this turn because there's a lot of cheap quality on the board for him.
So where do you go? You go Hive. Do you go Cutter? The Cutter's so good. Is it too late?
Those Corvettes are really tempting with the amount of yellow he
takes. He takes the Cutter.
Yeah, that's very defensible. Although I think that's his first blue card, right?
It is, and they're both so aggressive. I mean, I would wonder.
He's at 26. I think that makes a lot of sense. Sure. The more I think about it.
Yeah. I think you're right about the Corvettes. 2 cantrips that are going to faction off with your Imperial frigates. 2. He gets both. Wow. I think that's a good play.
And then he's hitting for 6. I mean, he's still behind, but he's got a lot of hitting power, and he's got a little bit of health gain. She's got all the outposts, but that's a weak hand for her. She's whiffing.
Oh, man. So we know that there's an Imperial frigate in there, because I only saw, or maybe both Imperial frigates are in there, because I didn't see them after the shuffle, right?
But I think she buys the MCI here, because she's got multiple bases. It gives you health, and you don't want him getting more health.
You're not
taking Explorers.
I don't think you're taking 2 Explorers. I mean, that's all I know. You're either passing or taking the yacht. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, the yacht's got value for her, and she could have hit a good one. You never know.
Mm-hmm. And 3 healing is 3 healing at this point.
Right.
Cancels out 3 of the healing of the Cutter. So
and if she gets like the Hive or the Protocol, like suddenly, she's a threat to really yacht off. But I think that was definitely a correct play.
Oh, whiff to whiff. Cutter. I guess their Cutter's there on the backside, so he can grab Hive.
Yeah, and also it keeps him from being 2 on the edge, because now you go up to 29, so the game will still be at least a few more turns probably, because neither of them scrapping, so it's hard for them to have like a turn where they just totally go off.
Right.
Although if someone gets that battle blob, suddenly the game could end a lot faster.
Exactly. Yeah. Protocol, even not a bad late game buy because of its scrap ability. Draw a card, destroy target base. Both of them could probably use
with
that.
their scores and the number of green cards, I think getting that battle blob is the priority for anyone who's got 6 trade.
Yeah.
But I think he's correct to not buy anything here, because he only had 4 trade.
Freighter is not the buy.
I mean, if you have a lot of blue, you take the Freighter in hopes of getting the battle blob on top of your deck, but he's only got the 1 blue card, so it's not worth it for him.
Yeah. And another whiff.
Well, she can hit for 4. She leaves her base out.
She could take the battle blob if she wanted to get rid of that, but it's going into her discard pile, which she
and she's not right about to shuffle, so I think that's correct for her. Although if he gets a missile mech, she'll feel differently.
Yes, certainly. I do see a pretty attractive-looking card there in the
Perhaps an
hand,
Imperial frigate.
Perhaps it might be. But
Is
we'll
now
have
a
to
good
see.
time to scrap the frigate? You're a frigate expert. What do you think?
At 30?
30 to 25.
This is a tough decision. You have two of them. I don't know. I think I hang on to it. I'm going to be totally honest.
So that must be what he's thinking about now, right?
Yeah, he's just trying to process if he's going to get rid of that for the extra draw.
All right. Well, it looks like she's actually thinking about discarding right away this time. All right. So we've got her back to real-time play.
He's got most of his starters are out. He's got 5 starters in here. He's still drawing a lot of damage. You know what? I think if I'm feeling spicy, I think I'm going for it. I think I'm scrapping out that Imperial frigate.
It's pretty tempting to press the panic button when you're 25.
Right.
I think you've got to consider how many cards are in your discard pile, how many cards are left in your deck, how soon will we be shuffling, stuff like that. You might want to think about what's in her discard pile and get an idea of how much hit does she have left in the deck. Yeah. If you think you can survive till the next time you draw it, I definitely don't think you scrap it. But this is the fence. Yeah. Right now you're on the fence. That's the point where it's not clear, and I think that's what he's taking so long about.
And it's not only that, but it's also the value of the Imperial frigate compared to the other cards in his deck. Is this a card that is doing some of the most damage in his deck? Because if you get rid of that and then you shuffle and you survive long enough, you've just missed an opportunity to get that extra 4 damage and the discard and the draw later in the game. He has a missile mech. He has another Imperial frigate somewhere.
And the other thing is, it's not like he's likely to make a big buy off of drawing a scout or something. I mean, I guess
that's a good point. Yes.
I guess he could have bought the hive, but if he'd got a scout, but then he would have to not gain the 1 off of his trading post, which he clearly did. And he's actually ahead now. I mean, although that's about to change with the green
that's about to change a little bit. Yeah.
And she got rid of his base for free, which is huge. So going back and taking that destroyer is looking pretty good for her.
Yeah, this is
and the Embassy Yacht's about to help too. She's going to gain some health, and she could make a big purchase.
So, and he did save the Imperial frigate. So next deck certainly, when that comes up again, he's going to be scrapping that out and going for the hit. So this is just going to come down to who swings first.
So now the question is, do you take the battle station and keep the ram in your deck, or do you get rid of the ram and take the battle blob?
You take the battle blob for sure. That for me,
that looks like she's on board with that plan.
12 damage in a scrap when they're both down to half authority.
I'm gonna take a big leap here and say that if she's still alive to draw that, then the battle blob will win her the game when she draws it.
Yes.
I know that's a very daring prediction.
What a daring prediction, certainly, yes.
But, he's got time before she draws it. Maybe he can make something happen because his deck's pretty aggressive.
And because there's no scrap, the shuffles the draws are going to be really important. They're going to be very variable. Yeah. There's a lot of starters that can come out. There's going to be the chance for whiffs, as we've already seen.
And he's got a decent card draw.
Draws into...
another frigate.
Yeah, gets the frigate. There it is. Look at that.
Frigates and corvettes work well together.
They're doing so much work. The car and the best car in the game. Yeah. As some might say. Now, does he? Now, if he kept the other one, you got to imagine he's keeping that because he's about to shuffle his deck.
He's got 1 card left, and he's trying to think about, is that a card that will go really well with the hand I have right now? So he's thinking, what's in my discard pile, what's in my hand? So he's trying to figure out what that 1 card is. And if it will have a huge impact, maybe if it would pair with the trade pod in his hand or something, then maybe it's worth it. Or if it meant, buying something amazing on the board. I find it unlikely that it'd be worth getting rid of the frigate right now when he's about to shuffle. So I agree with you there. But it's worth thinking about if you're him, especially since, in theory, he can figure out what card that is. Right. And when you've got that information, why not make use of it?
He's got 6 in hand. I'm looking at the Blob Destroyer. I mentioned the Port of Call. He's going to do it. He's going to do it. It was the missile mech. So he probably thought about that, realized he hadn't played the missile mech this turn. That's a good play. That's a good play.
So
to get
that's
that missile
6 damage. That's not missing the shuffle.
Right. That is huge.
So I think that was the correct play on his part. Although I could see why you have to think about it, because he could then draw the missile mech next turn when she's got a base out while still having the frigate.
Exactly.
In his deck.
Yes.
And the frigate's capable of doing as much damage as the missile mech.
Right. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think we're going to have her cycling station in Amanda's hand here, and she's going to actually cycle her deck if she uses it. So I'm going to be curious to see how she plays that. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, this game is definitely reaching its conclusion.
That's a tie game. That's actually a tie game. That's 15 damage. We're going to have... She has to discard a card, too. That's something, once again, he probably could have played that. Let her discard that card. 13-13, first one to strike, and it's all going to be down to the shuffle for Nick. It's going to be down. I think she has to cycle. She's got 2 starters. It's a rough situation to be in, but what are the 2 cards that are going to come up here? This is exactly what we predicted the game would be from turn one after seeing the first
Yeah,
guys.
it's rough to have to use Recycling Station at a point when it's shuffling your deck. Because I think she just threw 2 starters into her discard pile, which could drain their deck. But it looks like she got some value out of it because she's. And when you're at 13, you have to take that gamble.
Yes. Yeah.
So she'll hit for 4 and have 2 outposts in play. So she's hoping. See, but now he could have guaranteed the missile mech in his hand,
right,
while still having the frigate in his deck. So while it felt right when he did it, now I'm starting to think, or he could just draw missile mech again.
He could just do it. Is it good? Now we're still in the situation at 13-13 where your very bold prediction of Battle Blob coming up could still very well win the game.
Yeah. And she's not dead, in part because she's got 2 bases.
Yes.
And Missile Mech will expend its power on one and then its combat another and do a couple points to her. But with him at 9, he's on the edge, and he's not gaining any health here, and he's not playing any outposts. He's not getting any authority.
And it's worth knowing this is vanilla. Nothing's coming directly into hand. This isn't Colony Wars. So any purchase here with the totals is not really, it's a moot point. It's not really going to do much. There's a lot of good cards to buy if they were ever to come up, but there's just no way they're actually going to make it in.
Yeah, I mean, if you're him, why wouldn't you, right? Because it's not like he's going to turn up a warning beacon for her or something.
Right, exactly.
Because, in the event that something cosmically crazy, he gets his trading post at just the right time, draws his cutter.
Who knows? Yeah, it's true. It's
true. Unlikely to matter, but it's still the correct play on his part. I'm all for precise play. Oh, man, she's got him. Oh, my big your
huge prediction, man. Look at that. Look at it coming in. So we've seen Amanda Storm now twice. One with yellow and one with green just come in for a huge slam. And look at his hand. The two cars in the frigate didn't quite get him in.
So that game was actually pretty close.
That was a very close match.
I think
wow.
That decision to take the frigate over the Blob Destroyer is looking a little iffy here because that Blob Destroyer did a lot of work for her.
Right. Well, and in hindsight, you wonder maybe he should have scrapped out the frigates. I don't know. I agree with the idea of holding on to him. I wonder if he had scrapped them out. That would have actually made it go a little bit faster.
All right, so we're moving over to our other feature match, which is Ben Gartner versus Ben Cosman, a Battle of the Bens.
Battle of the Bens. Ben Gartner in the app is benjotron. Ben Cosman is bmcfluff or bmcfluff. Two names that I've run into a few times.
It looks like Ben Gartner's got a lot of good cards in his discard pile, not the least of which is a Dreadnought and a Brain World, and his hand's good too with a Mothership, man, and he's way ahead in score. We could be looking at the final turn of the game right here.
This is some classic benjotron.
Yeah. I've played a bunch of games against benjotron in the app, and he's a tough opponent.
He is.
He's trying to decide which of these card draws should I use.
Jeez.
All right, we'll go with the Mothership and hope to draw another green card.
And he
still has a Corvette, and he doesn't.
One starter. There's only one starter in there.
Wow.
Blob carriers in there.
Ben Cosman's trying to dodge a bullet here.
Yeah, he's hoping. Nothing out here for the Blob to carry, the carrier to carry. But if he can,
unlikely it's relevant, and that's just the damage there. Oh, yes. and now Benjotron just showed him what's going on with his hand.
Oh man.
Oh, and he did get the carry. So then he's got another draw.
He triggers a draw.
That's got to be enough right there, right?
That's it. Yep. That is it. That's enough.
Wow.
And we get in just in time. See that finishing blow. What a shot. Not uncommon to come into a Benjotron game, Ben Gartner, and see a Brain World and a bunch of scrap cards.
That might have cost the top for Ben Cosman getting his second loss here.
Yeah.
Well, there weren't a lot of. There was only 2 players at 3-0 this round.
Right.
It's still an open question who's going to advance to the next round.
Right.
But Amanda obviously helped herself a lot. Benjotron helped himself a lot.
Right.
It'll be curious to see how the other 3-win player worked out. That was Adam versus Rick.
Right.
Was the other table.
Yeah.
I would be curious to know what the result of that match was. But I'm really looking forward to the single elimination.
Yes.
And clearly we've got some good players here today.
No joke. Well, and that's why I was talking to. I was mentioning it to Rob. It's very likely because of how stacked this tournament is and how even it seems to be kind of getting to 2 losses might actually get you in to the top 8. It could happen. Normally, if you have people who are doing pretty well, 2 losses sometimes can be enough to push you out. But we might see some 2 losses coming.
Yeah, it's not like we have 4 people dominating the tournament. The wins have been pretty spread out.
Correct. Yeah. So guys, we'll be right back with some more Star Realms Legend Series action at White Wizard Games Fair 2017. Stick around. We'll be right back.